Now we're going to do a tutorial on the Alaris IV pump that we have over at main campus here at FRMC. Setup that you'll have is you'll have the middle part. This is called the brain of the IV pump, and then you have a channel that's connected to each side. This pump can hold up to 4 channels, so you can have 2 channels connected on each side, and I'll show you how those are shown on the computer once we turn that on. So first thing you want to do is power on the IV pump where it says system on. Hold it for about a second and it'll start to boot up. First thing that you will see when you power on the IV pump is it's going to ask for whether or not this is a new patient. So these IV pumps are programmed for each patient to make sure we're infusing the correct medications. So you'll hear some beeps if you don't hit the buttons quickly enough. So what I'm going to do is hit select yes. And then it's going to question, is this on the med-surg profile? I'm going to go ahead and hit no first so I can show you. The IV pumps are programmed with certain medications on the different profiles depending on the unit that the patient is on. For instance, critical care will have certain medications that med-surg patients are not able to receive. So we want to make sure we select med-surg. It'll highlight and we will hit confirm. Next thing it's going to ask is for the patient ID entry, and we want to make sure that we are always programming the correct ID for our patients. That information is going to be found on the patient's wristband, or you can find it on the computer. And we are looking for the account number, which is the F number shown right here. So I'm going to program that in by going over to the alphabet. F first. 1, 2. Again, this is an important procedure. We want to make sure that our correct patient's ID is in the system here. We will then hit confirm. And we are ready to go. So you'll notice on the main screen here you have A and you have B. What that is referring to is the 2 channels that are connected to the IV pump, and you'll see that it is labeled channel A and channel B. So when we're going to infuse our medications, we want to make sure we're selecting the correct channel that the tubing is going to be connected to. I'm not going to have any tubing or medication going right now. I'm just going to show you the process of hanging primary fluids and then secondary fluids and then powering the machine off. So to hang a primary line, I want to make sure I select the channel first, and I will click channel select. You're going to notice then channel A infusion menu is provided and channel A is blinking. 3 options here. You have guardrail drugs, guardrail IV fluids, and basic infusion. The term guardrail is pre-programmed into the system here to make sure we are providing the patient with the correct medication administration rate. So every medication that pharmacy has programmed in here has pre-programmed rates to make sure we aren't going at a non-prescribed rate. You don't ever want to use basic infusion. If you aren't able to find the medication that you're infusing on the selection menu here, you want to contact pharmacy because we want to make sure those guardrail limits are used properly. So to hang primary fluids, we're going to press guardrail IV fluids, and a menu pops up with some different options. So we have just normal maintenance fluid we can select, and then you notice some options below with some different additives such as potassium. If I scroll down, bicarbonate, and this is also where we would administer blood products, dextrose, lipids, TPN that we've learned about, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to toggle back up and I'm going to select maintenance IV fluids. It's going to ask me that I want to confirm I am administering maintenance IV fluids. I'll hit yes. And then you'll come up with the rate and the volume to be infused. So we want to confirm with our physician's order what the rate is going to be, and we'll discuss that a little bit further when I show you how to prime primary fluids. I'm going to hit cancel and go back to the main screen and show you how we will do secondary IV medications. We'll once again select our proper channel, go to guardrail drugs. When I do that, you'll see all these different options of pre-programmed medications. Again, if you are unable to find the medication you're looking for, we'll contact pharmacy and we'll have them program that with the correct guardrail limits. You can hit exit and go back to the main screen. You'll notice the IV pump beeps periodically if you're waiting on a screen and not pressing any buttons. That's just to remind you that it's waiting for you to properly input the information. This is everything that you'll need. You'll have audio adjust. So if you have a patient that is resting, you want to make sure it's not going off real loud in their ear. We can soften it a little bit. Just make sure that we're able to know as nurses when that machine is going off. Cancel and go back. We can also check the volume that has been infused. This is important for accurate intake and output, and we'll talk a little bit about this with the Meditech update with the IV flow sheet. Here you'll see it's going to show you how much of channel A has been infused and how much in channel B has been infused so that we can transmit that over into Meditech. To power the machine off, you can go to either channel and just hold in the channel off button. Hold that in, system will power down, and that's a basic overview of the Alaris IV pump.